Hello and welcome back to another Fear the Walking Dead review, and today we'll be reviewing Fear the Walking Dead Season 8 Episode 2, Blue Jay. And this episode is about June, Dwight and Sherry and catching up to what they have been doing in the 7 years. We first meet June and she's stealing people's fingers, and when we meet Dwight and Sherry we find out they are collectors like Morgan. I think this episode gets better as you watch it because the first part of this episode is kind of meh. I do not like it, and it feels very weak with the writing, with how conveniently June meets Dwight and Sherry and how quickly Dwight and Sherry wake up after being darted. When we saw in a previous scene, she was able to dart them once and then had time to cut off their fingers and mess around. Dwight and Sherry just quickly wake up, but once the plot actually gets going and they're at the location dealing with this child with appendicitis and trying to get the operation done and get out alive, is a very interesting episode, and this episode does drop a lot of very interesting things for not just Fear but the Walking Dead universe, because the big reveal in this episode, I'm sorry I have to spoil it because it's the main part of this episode, is that a cure might be possible for the Walker virus, and June spent the first part of those 7 years trying to find a cure with radiation, and I thought that was very interesting. And I definitely like the mystery about this episode and why June ran off into the woods and became a hermit way more than the last episode with the mystery about Mo and what happened to Mo and Morgan. The only issue about this mystery is that Grace is not involved in it somehow, because, you know, she's the radiologist, and if they're going to do something with radiation, why is she not involved, and why do you have the nurse June involved? I feel like this should have been a Grace and June episode, not just a June episode, because in previous seasons, when it comes to radiation, they paired the two together because June's the nurse and can deal with medical stuff, and Grace is the radiologist and can understand radiation. Other than that slight issue with the mystery, it is very interesting, and this episode has some very good moments, has some cool kills, and I really like the characters. It's all well acted, no annoying baby Mo. The child in this episode is okay. I really like Dwight and Sherry when they're with the child. You have a nice bond between those characters. The only issue with Dwight and Sherry is that their relationship has been broken up again, and it's the third time they're going to do the break up and get back together thing. Sherry, immediately being the Easter egg machine she is, tries to be like, oh, it's going to be like Sanctuary, and they have a conversation and Dwight's going, it's not like Sanctuary, or something like that. I do not like that those two characters are just there to reference the Sanctuary and Negan every episode they're in, it feels like. But it's not as bad as them straight out talking about Negan constantly through certain episodes. It was just one little mention and then move on. The danger in this episode is Dwight and Sherry get stuck and June has to go and save them. We do get to see some radiation walkers in this episode. However, they're not treated like the previous 2 seasons worth of radiation walkers where, oh, the walker's radioactive, we can't touch it. You have June just going up there stabbing it and this other guy. And I'm thinking to myself, if these walkers have been blasted with radiation, should they be taking precautions against them? But other than that, it is a very entertaining and action-packed episode in such a small, claustrophobic space. I really like the set, and we learn so much more about Padre and they're trying to find this cure, and it makes you so much more interested in this mysterious villain. This episode looks great, sounds great. It just has a bit of issue at the start, but by the end of this episode, it has a very dramatic ending, and this episode basically goes from 0 to 100 in no time, with them being like, oh yeah, we did the appendicitis removal, we saved the child. Dwight and Sherry are like, let's go and have a nice happy family for the 3rd time this show. And then Padre rocks in, and the ending, I'm going to have to talk about the ending. I wasn't expecting it. It is over the top, and you have amazing acting from the actors who played Dwight and Sherry. June just straight up gets revenged, basically. People just take revenge on her finger taken for like 7 years. And then Dwight and Sherry and the child, they just be like, screw it, let's just restart the cure. Bam! Shocking ending. I'm not going to say exactly what happens, but bruh, I wasn't expecting that, and that was really intense. It really sets up Dwight and Sherry's season arc, and I'm really excited to see what they're going to do with those 2 characters. Now let's move on to my 1-sentence/1-word overall review, and I have to say this is a good episode. It is a 6 out of 10. I wasn't expecting this episode to be this good with its mediocre to bad start, But once the story gets going, I really enjoyed it. The big reveals, it was a very gripping episode, and I'm definitely expecting the next episode to be even better. This show feels like it's going to be, each episode gets better and better as we go, and with us starting at a 5, we're now at a 6. I am really looking forwards to the next episodes. It was paced well, it had an okay story, but once they got into the plot and at the train, it was very entertaining. June carried this episode. I wasn't expecting her to, because most of the time June is always paired with Adori, but it's the first episode where June's alone. It works well. But please tell me down below, what were your thoughts about episode 2 of season 8? I'll let us know if you liked it, you hated it, and what do you think about the possibility of a cure? Tell me down in the comments. But this is it for me today, so goodbye, peace out, and I'll talk to you in my next video.